Hey friends, you know, this is the first thing I gotta do because the bugs love me. My insect repellent spray, we sell that in our shop. But welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you are here. If you are brand new, thank you so much for stopping by and landing on this page. Stick around, pull up a chair, grab some tea, let's hang out. And if you've been here before, you already know how we do it. So I'm in my backyard, and today I'm talking all about fall seed planting version 2. If this is your first time here, please do me a favor and say hello in the chat and let me know what country or state you're coming in from so I can say hello back and welcome you to the channel. And then I have a special request because this week I heard from 2 viewers in my comments who led with, hey, I've never commented before, but. And so if you have been somebody who was a part of the channel, you are part of the community, you subscribed a long time ago, but you've never ever made a comment and said hello to me or just shared a comment in the chat, I would love for you to do that on this video. I love talking to you guys in the comments. It is the best thing that I can do without literally being in your garden with you, right? And so I read every single comment that I get, and I love it when you guys comment and share, not just for me, but for other people in the community, or sometimes you guys just come on and say hi, and I appreciate that. So, special request, if you're brand new to this channel, definitely say hello. But if you've been a part of this channel and you have never, ever commented, comment today for the first time. Let me say hello back to you and let me know that you're on the other end of this camera. Y'all, and I got my faithful who always comment, who are always talking to me. I love you guys so much. So I'm starting off with that because, y'all, let me tell you something. When I started this YouTube channel, and that's not what the video is about. I'm just yapping now. We're gonna talk about fall planting. That's what we're gonna talk about on this video. But a little sidebar. When I started this channel 4 years ago, I started the channel because I was frustrated in my gardening journey at the very beginning because I could not find people to help explain gardening to me like on a 101 level. Like they would start at step 5 and I'm like, I'm at step 0. They assumed I knew a lot, or they would just kind of rush through it. And I'm the type of person that I really need to understand the whole process. It's the way my brain works. I'm very analytical. And so that's what I needed for me. Not to say that they were wrong, but you know, everybody learns differently. So I started this channel because I wanted a safe space for someone like me, a new gardener who did not know what they were doing, but felt safe enough to tune into this particular channel and get the help that they needed and to be encouraged and inspired that they too can grow food. And so that's what this channel is all about. Now, you may be a veteran gardener. You may not need encouragement in terms of, hey girl, I know how to grow food. I'm just passing through. That is okay. You are welcome here too. But that's the reason why I started the channel. And I say all that to say is that it had, in 4 years, it has turned into something that I never even thought or imagined. And to be honest with you, I didn't have a lot of thought as what it could become. I literally was just said, one day, I'm going to start me a YouTube channel. And I'm going to make things simple. And I'm going to be that place if you're a new gardener. And I'm just going to take people on the journey with me. Now, by the time I started my YouTube channel, I had already been gardening for a year, which is not long at all. And so you really, if you've been with me from the beginning, you really have been with me almost from the beginning, right? Almost from the beginning. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching my channel, for every comment, for every like, for every share, every subscribe. I really appreciate it. This community has grown to over 17,000 people. And again, that growth may sound very slow in 4 years, but I'm thankful for each and every one of you. And I know that we are just getting started. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wanted to get that at the beginning of this video because I try to say thank you a lot, but I don't want you guys to ever take for granted. Think that I take you guys for granted, because I do not. And I receive this every week, but this week it did something special for me. I get so many comments when people say, I love your channel. You have helped me do X, Y, and Z. And y'all, that warms my heart because that means it's not all in vain. I'm just taking you through my life as much as I can with the time that I have, and taking you through my gardening journey, my homesteading journey. That's what it's all about. It's a journey. And I am honored that we get to do it together. Okay, so let's jump into what we're going to talk about today. Today we're talking about fall planting, planning, seed starting, and all of that. And I'm out here today doing my second set of fall seeds. I'm going to show you what the seeds look like that you and I planted together. It's been 3 weeks now since we planted those seeds together. I'm going to show you what they look like. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to plant now. And so I'm doing mine in stages, and I have 3 stages that I'm doing mine in initially. So I'm going to explain to you what that is, why I'm doing it that way. And then I also want to talk about the timing of the fall garden, because it can be really tricky. The timing is way more particular and way more important than it is in the summer garden. So we're going to talk about what that means. So if you want to hear all that, a little bit of that, some of that, stay tuned. Okay. So let us first fill up. I got 1 tray filled up with mix, and then I'm going to fill up a 2nd tray. I am using the 72 the 6L trays, and so there's 12 of them in here, so it's going to be 72 seedlings in 1 tray. These trays, these, okay, I think that was a B. I got a lot of comments on my video we started seeds before. I think it was new people probably asking me, where did I get my trays, where did I get the colored pots, all that good deal. So I buy most of my pots and trays from Epic Gardening. There is a discount code in my description where you can get a discount on Epic Gardening. And then I do also have some trays and pots from Bootstrap Farmer. I do not have a discount code for them. So when I first started my journey, I was using Bootstrap Farmer, and I love Bootstrap Farmer. And I still do, but I primarily have switched over to Epic Gardening because I find, for me, their trays are more, when it comes to the 6L, that is, particularly the 6L, is way more sturdy than the ones from Bootstrap Farmer. Let me show you an example. I probably should have did this before I put soil in it, but this is the Epic Gardening tray. There are also dishwasher safe on your top rack, which is a plus, right? But this right here, like, I cannot bend it. Like, I can't bend it. Let me just take the dirt out. I can't bend it no matter how much I try. Like, it is sturdy. It is durable. This is the Bootstrap Farmer. Let me just take the dirt out and let me just show you. I can move this, I can bend it, I can do all the things, right? It's not as like, I probably did that a little bit too much, like, look. So let me stop. So I find that the Epic Gardening tray containers are more sturdy when it comes to the 6L. I primarily start my seeds in this because I can get a lot in a tray versus these pots right here, only 32 fit in a tray. Now these are Bootstrap Farmer. And again, I have had these pots for 3 to 4 years. So I want to make sure that I am clear. The Bootstrap Farmer pots and trays, they are sturdy and they're going to be an investment, and they do last. Like the stuff that I bought from Bootstrap Farmer, they have lasted for the last 3 to 4 years. Okay. And so this is pretty sturdy, but you can see I can bend it, right? But when it comes to the 6L trays, by far, Epic Gardening is better. I don't want to say better quality. It is more sturdy. That's what I will say. That is a fact. I'm not going to say that it's not great quality. Okay. So that's where I get my stuff from. And if you're going to garden, like for real, or you going to play, if you're going to garden for real, then invest in you some good pots. And again, I have lots of pots. I have lots of trays, but I've been gardening for 5 years. And so I have accumulated and bought stuff over time. What you see me have now is not what I had year 1, year 2, and probably, well, year 3, I had a pretty good stash. And I've always bought either the Bootstrap Farmer pots or the Epic Gardening for the most part. Now, I have bought some cheaper pots from like the Greenhouse Mega Store. But when I say those things are cheap, they're only going to last you 1 season, right? So if you're just getting started in your gardening journey, you're like, I don't even know if I'm going to like it, then yeah, buy that stuff. But if you know that you're going to be gardening, invest in you some good stuff, because it's going to last over and over and over. Plus, they both have cute colors, because I like stuff that's cute. Okay? I like stuff that is cute. Okay. So we got that done. Now, I am going to wet this, and then we're going to talk about what we're planting today. I'm the worst at wearing gloves. Look at that already. Okay, let me come water this, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to plant. So as I mentioned, 3 weeks ago, I did my first seed starting for the fall gardening season. So if you didn't see that video, I will pop it up here. And so I started things that I knew either took a long time or had a long maturity, so I need to go ahead and get those things started. So the things that I started, and I will show you the progress of what those are looking like. I started Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, collard greens. What else? Broccoli. I think those were all the fall things. And we also did some calendula. We did some sweet alyssum in terms of flowers for the fall. And then we also did our third succession of squash and zucchini. So that was in that video, and I went through that and talked about why I was starting that stuff then. Now we're on our second planting or sowing of the fall seeds. And today I'm going to be planting 4 things. I'm going to be planting, I keep saying planting, I'm going to be starting kale, lettuce, cilantro, and bok choy. Okay. And then I have 3, another third planting that I'm going to be doing. And those are the things that I'm probably going to direct sow. And that's going to be probably, and if I had to guess, probably another month or so, 3 to 4 weeks, somewhere along in there. So I'm kind of staggering mine for a couple of reasons. So let's kind of talk about the timing of the fall garden. So the reason why the timing is a little bit more particular than the summer is because in the summer you usually have a longer season. Like whatever your time frame is whatever your time frame is. So for me, I'm in zone 7B in the state of Tennessee, and so we have a long summer growing season, 100+ days, right? And so I don't have to worry about necessarily the extremes in temperature, right? Everything I'm planting in the summer is a warm season crop. It can withstand in May, and it can withstand in September, right? And I have a long season. When it comes to the fall or winter garden, then if I am gardening outside, then I need to be mindful of when it gets frost in my area, right? And that is going to be dependent on where I live and my geographic region. So when you think about the fall and the winter, the timing is important. Now, let's pretend like I'm going to be doing my garden outside. I'm not going to be doing my garden outside. If you are new here, I am outside right now in the back of my house. I have 5 raised beds. You can see those there. But I don't garden out here in the fall and the winter, except I do plant my garlic out here in the fall, in October, and then I will plant onions in the spring. But I primarily do all of my fall/winter gardening in my high tunnel. And so because I'm under protected culture, I have a lot more latitude. So when you're seeing me do my fall seeds, keep in mind that I'm going to be in a high tunnel/greenhouse. And so I have protected culture. And so myself, I don't have to worry about the things as much as if I were gardening outside. So for a lot of you, you do not have a high tunnel or a greenhouse. So I'm speaking directly to you. When it comes to the timing, you need to think about when does it normally get frost in your area. So that was what we call the estimated first frost date, okay? The estimated first frost date. If you don't know what that is, then you can Google it and just say, what's my first frost date for zip code 57814, right? Whatever your zip code is, whatever your city and state is. That is going to be one of your first key indicators about the timing of your fall garden. So for me, it's October, estimated to be around October the 19th. So for things that are not going to be good when it comes to frost, I need to be thinking about that. And my plants need to be at least further along/mature before that first frost comes. Okay. So for example, we started our seeds for Brussels sprouts, collard greens, cabbage, and broccoli 3 weeks ago. So that was I think it was the last day of July is when we did it. Okay, so July 31st. So if you think about when it comes to collard greens, or let's say kale, kale has a maturity date of around, let's just say 50 to 60 days. Like you can harvest baby kale at like 45 days, but if you want like a full head, I would say more along the 60-day mark. So if I were to start my seeds on, let's just say August the 1st, by October the 1st, right? It's been 2 months, all of August, all of September. That is 60 days. By October the 1st, my kale is at a pretty good established size that if for some reason kale was killed by frost, I would still be able to harvest kale before that October 19th frost date. Does that make sense? Okay. So you have to think about things like that. Now, I live in a pretty mild area in terms of frost. So on October 19th, when they say frost, it's probably going to be in the 30s, right? It's not going to be like 15 degrees in my area. So for me, if I was gardening outside, primarily in the fall and winter, the stuff that I started on August the 1st, July 31st, I have enough time. So by the time that day gets here, my stuff is pretty much, established and on its way. Okay, if that makes sense. Now, the things that are not going to be on their way or close to harvest would be Brussels sprouts and cauliflower, because they take a long time to grow. So for example, if I am doing Brussels sprouts, which I am, if I was doing them outside and I started them in August, Brussels sprouts take 110 days to 120 days to mature. That is essentially 4 months. So that's all of August, all of September, all of October, all of November. And so they're going to be ready somewhere along in December, right? And so usually Brussels sprouts, for me, they take a little bit longer than 120 days, because you have to think about, by the time you get into November and December, the sun is going down early. You do not have as much sunlight, nor do you have as much warm temperatures in that time frame. So if I know that I'm going to be outside, right? And let's say you live in an area that is frigid, that is below the frost tolerance for Brussels sprouts. Like Brussels sprouts can withstand, I want to say like 25 degrees, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere along in there. Let's say you live in an area where it gets way colder than that by like November. If you have not protected your Brussels sprouts, meaning with a row cover or some type of protection, guess what? You would have started your Brussels sprouts back on August the 1st, but you would not have even had a chance to harvest them before your first frost comes. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? It can get real technical, but here's the thing that I want you to think about. Know when your first frost is, and make sure that you have enough time, if you're outside gardening, that you have enough time between when you sow the seed, plant it out, and then when it's time to harvest with your first frost date. Now, when your first frost date comes, it doesn't mean that, oh my goodness, let me pull up all of my stuff, right? Because you have things, and I won't go into too much detail. If you want the detail and you want to really, really understand, then go by the replay of my fall gardening workshop, because I talked about all this. Plus, I gave them a digital guide and workbook that showed all of this in a chart. Like I gave them a chart that showed the frost tolerance levels. And so there is a pyramid that shows at this temperature, this is what can withstand, like what crops can withstand this temperature band. This temperature band, this is what these crops can withstand. So I won't go through all of that detail, but different crops have different frost tolerances, right? So for example, lettuce is only good to 20 degrees, but you have other crops that are good way below 20 degrees. Okay. So know the timing, know what you're planting, know how long things take, especially if you're gardening outside. The other thing is that if you're gardening outside, depending on geographic region and where you are, in order to extend your time in the ground, you may need to cover your crops to give it some extra added protection to keep it warm when it's 10 degrees outside, right? And again, I talked about that in the fall gardening workshop, and I gave links and examples of things that you can buy to extend your harvest. So I'm not going to go into great detail. If you want the detail, go by the replay of the class. You'll get the whole webinar, as well as I think it's like a 50-page digital workbook that explains all of that. But the things that you need to know is your first frost date, how long it's going to take for the crop, are you planting outside, and do you have some protection for when it gets absolutely too cold? Now for me, I'm in a high tunnel. And so for the past two winters when I've been gardening out there, we have not lost many things, even when it's gotten down to single digits, okay? Because we have the protection of the greenhouse or the high tunnel, and then we also use row cover as well. And you'll be seeing that as we go through the winter season. You'll see kind of how we cover and protect our crops, okay? Now, the other thing that I see when it comes to fall garden planting that people make a mistake on is putting their stuff out either too soon or they're not protecting it while it is out, okay? So as we go through today, you will see how the crops that we've done for the first 3 weeks how they're looking. And you may say, well, Barbara, why don't you go ahead and put those crops out? I'm not going to put those crops out yet for a specific reason. I'll talk about that when I show you those crops, okay? But for now, let's talk about what we're going to plant. 4 things: kale, lettuce, cilantro, and bok choy. So I got my little stuff here. Let me show you the varieties that I'm doing. Okay, so on bok choy, and if you've never grown bok choy, it is in the cabbage family. I had never tasted bok choy. I didn't grow up around bok choy. It was very foreign to me, but I started growing it 2 years ago, and I fell in love with it. It is commonly used in like stir fries or in Asian dishes. You can steam it, you can saute it, you can do lots of different things with it, and it tastes really, really good. It is also an easy crop to grow. It germinates fast, and you have bok choy in like 45 to 50 days. So again, if you're on a shorter time window and you want to get some stuff for the fall garden, just to say you did something, just so there's one less thing you got to buy from the grocery store. If bok choy is not on your list, it is a great crop to add to your list. If you do bok choy, put it down below and let me know if you do bok choy and also how you prepare it. That way you can help everybody else, okay? So I'm trying a new kind of bok choy this year, and I'm doing it, y'all, just because it's cute, okay? Because I can do that. Look at that, y'all. Purple lady. She is beautiful. Is she not? She is beautiful. So I will be growing that just because I want some color in my garden. Y'all know I love flowers. I love pretty colors. You know, hence all my green stalks back there. Look at that. If you see that right there, that's a green stalk box. Stay tuned next week. Next week, I got something for you. You gonna want to see it, okay? Let me stay focused. Okay, so I'm doing this purple lady bok choy because I want some color in the winter garden. Most of the things are green. The things that are color are usually growing underground: beets, carrots, things like that. And so when I go into my garden space, especially in the winter, it's cold, it's dreary, can be dreary. It can be drab. You're missing the summer tomatoes. I like to go into my greenhouse or my high tunnel, and there's color in there, just as much color, or at least some color like we have in the summer garden. So that's why I'm growing this. I think it'll be so pretty to grow. Now, I've heard that when I researched, it said that it turns green when you cook it, okay? So we're going to do some of those just for that. But I'm going to do my standard traditional bok choy. This is one that I've had great success with. It's called Black Summer from Johnny's. It germinates really, really fast, and it grows well. 45-day maturity. So you'll have bok choy. It grows really, really fast. So when we talk about the timing of the fall garden, even though I'm in a hot tunnel, remember I talked about I'm doing my stuff in stages, right? So I did my cauliflower, my Brussels sprouts, and all of that early because those take a long time. So I intentionally did those first. The other reason why I didn't do, now I could have done these all at the same time, but the reason why I didn't was, number one, I was out of time. Number two, I was about to go out of town. And I think that was it. So that was just personal, but I could have started these then. But because I knew I wasn't going to start everything at one time, I was very intentional about what I started when. Now, if you're new here, and even if you're not new here, I'll keep saying this, you have to garden with intention as much as possible. Everybody busy. Everybody got a lot on their plate, especially me, especially you. And so gardening is what I love to do. And we do have a business with the farm and all of that, but it is not my main business. I also have another business that I've had, praise the Lord, it'll be 8 years in October. I have an HR consulting business. So that is the business that is the primary business. And I'll just say it that way. So what I'm saying is that garden, I don't do this full time all day, every day. And so because my time is limited, just like yours, I have to be very thoughtful and very intentional so that I can maximize the time that I have. And so I would encourage you to do the same. Okay. What was my point? My point is there was a rhyme to the reason about why I'm starting these today versus last week. This takes only 45 days. So before they're going to catch up with broccoli. They're going to beat broccoli that I started 3 weeks ago because it only takes 45 days. So I'm doing the Shanghai green. That's a new one. Black Summer and Purple Lady. Okay, so those are what I'm doing for bok choy. And I will do several successions of bok choy throughout the fall and winter season. Okay. The next thing we're doing is kale. I'm only doing 2 kinds of kale this season. I'm doing red boar and winter boar from Johnny's. It is like a curly kale. So if you're used to blue curled Scotch kale or like curly kale, that is what it looks like. It grows fantastic. It's from Johnny's. The winter boar is the green one. The red boar is the maroon or purple one. They both grow well. I'm not growing another kind because these have been my tried and true, and they perform exceptionally well. And so that's what I'm doing. Now, I have done dino kale in the past, the lacinato. I have done Russian kale. I have done the celebration mix. It did not grow very well for me. The dino kale did fine, but these are my top two right here. Okay, so then I'm doing cilantro. This is the kind of cilantro I'm doing because somehow this is the only pack of cilantro seeds I have. I don't know how that happened. As many seeds as I have, this is all I could find. I'm sure I got some more somewhere. So I don't know if it's in another stash, which I try to stay pretty organized. But anyway, we're going to try this. Slow boat cilantro. It'll grow just fine. It just means that it's slower to bolt and it's more resistant to high heat. But it's going to be cold. It's going to be just fine. So if you're finding that when you try to grow cilantro in the spring, and it started to bolt when like May or June, it's because the cilantro is actually a cool season crop. It is not a summer crop, right? I know we want to make it summer because we have our tomatoes, our jalapenos, and you're thinking, I got me a little salsa mix in my garden. But cilantro is going to bolt each and every time because it does not like heat. It likes the cold. So I'm doing cilantro. We'll grow a lot of that. And I'm on my last batch of cilantro that we have freeze dried, and so I definitely need to go ahead and get some of this going so that we can freeze dry our cilantro for the rest of the year. So again, one of the things I talk about is that whatever crop we grow, we try to grow enough for a year, especially if it's something that we're going to freeze, store, preserve, things like that. Now when it comes to bok choy, I don't usually preserve my bok choy. Like I might put it in the freezer, maybe, and then try to saute it, but we pretty much eat it primarily fresh. But things like kale, collard greens, spinach, we eat it fresh and we freeze a ton of that. And so that way we have it until the next year. I was just in my freezer pulling out some stuff to cook for tomorrow, and I saw that I had I think 2 or 3 bags of collard greens left, and I think I have 2 bags of spinach and 1 bag of kale. So y'all, I'm right on it. I am right on it. Well, the Lord is right on it. Let me say that. Let me not take credit. I just put in the work and the Lord blesses it. Let me just say that. Okay. So, okay. The next crop we're doing is lettuce. I have several different kinds of lettuces here. I'm going to decide which ones I'm going to do when I start writing out the tags and when I start laying stuff out. That's what I'm going to decide. But let me show you what I got. I have Summer Crisp lettuce. That is by Johnny's. That's a new one to me. Green Sweet Crisp. I've done this one several times before. Merlot is a fan favorite from Baker's Creek. So when it comes to lettuce, I like to alternate with the green and the red. I like to have both in my garden because one, it makes a beautiful salad mix, and we sell our salad mixes, plus we just use them at home for fresh. And then also it looks pretty in the garden and provides me with some more color. Right. So, Merlot. Then I have this from In My Garden. It's called Slow Boat Loose Leaf Lettuce. I have a red romaine, and then this is a new one, a crisp mint romaine. I don't know why it's called. Okay, it says it has a mild, sweet, and crunchy flavor. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna do at least, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 of these. We'll see what happens when we get to it. So I got my stuff set up. I got some tags. I got markers. Now we're just gonna get down to business and write out and plan what we're going to do in these 2 trays. And I'm going to see if I can get everything in these 2 trays. If not, then we may need a 3rd tray. But let's see what we're working with. I have not quite planned on how many I'm doing. Like, it's in my head, but it's not all the way in my head. But I'm going to figure it out when I put pen to paper. Watch me. I'll show you what I did. guys, I got it done. Let me put some vermiculite on my second tray. I did that one. So I got all of it done. There's one that I forgot about. So instead of me planting 4 crops, I did 5. The one that I forgot about was spinach. And I'll tell you why I forgot about it. These are ready to go. I'm going to mist these on the top so that it is properly watered. That's why I water my soil. That's why I water my soil before I put my seeds in, so that it's kind of already moist, because sometimes if you wait and put your seeds in dry soil and then try to water, it's going to displace the seeds and move them around. So I water to begin with, I do the seeds, and then I'll mist it after that, and then they'll be ready to go in my house under the grow lights. So the reason why I forgot my spinach is because I keep my spinach in my freezer. You may say, well, why do you keep your spinach in your freezer? Because it helps with germination. Now, spinach primarily is difficult to germinate. I think not just for me, it takes a while to germinate. It does not germinate in 2 to 3 days like a lot of these crops do. It can take anywhere from 10 to 14 days, and I've had a hard time getting spinach to germinate. But putting them in the freezer, they like a process called cold stratification. What that means is that, if the seed is cold or in the refrigerator or the freezer, and it's been in there, let's just say, 4 to 6 weeks, and then you take it out and you plant it, it's easier for it to break what they call dormancy, because it's going from cold to hot. And so they germinate better if they've been cold first. Now, will they germinate without cold stratification process? Absolutely they will. It just takes longer. There are other seeds that also benefit from that as well, like lavender and eucalyptus, I think, is another one, but definitely lavender. And I have done experiments in the past on my channel where I sowed some lavender seed that was cold stratified and some that was not. And every time, the ones that were in the cold germinated faster. So if you didn't know that and you've had a hard time germinating spinach seeds, try this method. And what I do is I just leave this in here all year round. So whenever I buy spinach seeds, I just pop them in here, and this is always in my freezer. This case and my lavender case is always like just tucked away in my freezer. So that's why I forgot about it, because it was out of sight, out of mind. It was on my list, but I always forget about it. So I'm glad that I remembered. So we have 2 trays completely done. I won't kind of take you through the quantities, but my logic was I did quite a bit of lettuce, because I'm really torn with the idea of having one of my green stalks completely filled out for the fall and winter, which is not something I traditionally do, but I'm feeling it this year. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling like I want some kale and some greens in my green stalk, as well as some flowers. So if I want to come out here and get lettuce for a sandwich or for a salad, I can just come right out my front door, back door, and not have to walk down to my tunnel. So I haven't done it in the last 2 years, but I'm feeling it this year. So that's what we're going to do. Right. So I have, you can see I have 5 green stalks there. I'm in the process of doing some rearranging with my green stalks. I'm doing some things that'll be in next week's video. I'm going to show you some changes I'm making to my whole green stalk setup. I'll talk about that next week. So make sure that you tune in for that. So I did a ton more lettuce. I probably did, I think, 48 things of lettuce, because I'm going to have some back here as well as some in my high tunnel. I did quite a bit of kale. The bok choy, I did 24. And again, I will keep that in succession because it's only every 45 days. And the thing with bok choy, because it's like a cabbage, it's going to grow that head or grow the bok choy plant, but then you harvest it and it's not going to regrow another plant. So once you harvest it, that one is done. So if you plant 12, you're going to get 12, right? You're not going to get 24 and all that. And plus, we sold a ton of bok choy the last 2 years. So that's another reason why I planted more of that, because obviously we can't eat 24 bok choys at one time. We probably, in the fall and winter season, we're probably going through one a week. Just us personally, like with, Asian dishes or whatever. And usually I'm selling the rest, gifting it, whatever the case may be. So anyway, we got 2 more trays of seeds. So this is our second planting of seeds. Now, my third planting of seeds, and I have this written down, are going to be things that I'm going to direct sow. And that is going to be beets, carrots, radish. Those are the 3 main things I'm going to direct sow. So I'm not going to start those as seeds. I'm going to actually direct sow those in the ground. And so I'm waiting until probably, I would say probably around the 2nd week of September, which is about 3 or 4 weeks from now, to actually direct sow those when the temperatures are a little bit cooler. Can I plant them now? I can, but also remember I still have a greenhouse full of stuff with my raised beds are full, and so I'm also giving time for my peppers and things in my greenhouse to kind of go through and harvest as much as we can off that before we switch the beds over. So again, everything is intentional. Everything is based on timing. And then you also, even if you're gardening outside, you may be doing the same thing. You may be trying to get your last few peppers or tomatoes or potatoes or whatever the case may be, especially if you're on limited space. So before you flip the bed from summer to fall, you're trying to plan your stuff incrementally and intentionally, which is perfect. And then I will also do a second succession of most of these crops. So we will do more broccoli, we will do more cabbage, we'll do more collard greens. You'll see that in definitely the months to come. So all we're doing right now is our very first sowing of fall seeds. So we've already sowed one set. This is set number 2, and then the third set will be direct sown in the ground. So that's kind of and then I've already started to kind of lay out where things are going to go. I'll share that on an upcoming video as well. So this is just back of the napkin type of thing. I kind of have my greenhouse laid out and what's going to go in what spot as a rough estimate. I will further flesh this out and make it more of a solidified document, so to speak. But this is just like my initial thoughts and just making sure, okay, I know where I want things to go with crop rotation, how many things I need, what I'm doing more of this year, what I'm doing less of, that type of thing. And I'll talk about my planning on an upcoming video. But y'all, let me show you how the seedlings have done that we did together, you and I, 3 weeks ago. I'm going to insert that footage here, and then we're going to talk about how they're doing and what's next for them. So here's the calendula, the snapdragons. My violas finally germinated. They're small. These next 2 rows are alyssum, and then there's my onions. I should just put those in a cup. But here are my Brussels sprouts. Look at them. They are all filled out. They are doing fantastic. Besides the Brussels sprouts are cauliflower, if I'm not mistaken. These are my collard greens. So half of this tray is collard greens, and then the rest of the tray are cabbages. So they're all doing good. I had a couple that a little bit smaller, but pretty much I have 100% germination in mostly everything. Okay, so the seedlings are doing great. You can see that the ones that I have in the 6L cup, they need to be up potted because you can see there's some yellowing or purpling on the leaves. They just need more space. Like they've just outgrown. Now you could say, now why didn't I start them all in the 2.5-inch pots? I didn't start them in the 2.5-inch pots. Number 1, because of space. 2, I wanted to see what my success was going to be like with germination, and that way I can know that and then up pot. Now also you may be asking, well, why would I not go ahead and put that out, especially because I have at least 1 empty bed in my high tunnel. There's a couple reasons. I want them to be bigger, and again, because I'm in a high tunnel, I have the luxury that it doesn't matter because I got all the time in the world, right? I'm not necessarily bound by the timing of, oh my goodness, it's going to be 20 degrees outside, because I have things in place that's going to help with that. But also I want them to be bigger, and even though the weather is mild today, y'all, it was like 97 2 or 3 days ago, and I want it to be a little bit cooler consistently. And when I say cooler, just if we could get down to the 80s consistently, then I would feel better about putting them out. If I was in a situation where I had to put them out, would I put them out? Absolutely. But there definitely need to be protected because we still got pests, and disease and things like that. So for me, I'm going to wait probably another 2 to 3 weeks before those things go out that first round. And then of course I'll have these things coming up behind it. But everything is intentional. Everything is, planful in terms of how I'm doing it. So I hope that this helps you. Let me know what questions you have. If there's something that I went through that did not make sense, please put your questions down below. Let's talk about it. Let's dialogue. Let's get you what you need, especially if you are doing a fall garden for the very first time. And I will tell you, if you are thinking about doing a fall garden, let me push you off the edge, okay? I'm telling you, fall gardening, if you have been fed up with the summer garden, if you're like over summer and ready to kick summer in the throat, have your fall garden. It is going to be much easier in terms of less pests, less disease, less heat. It's just way more pleasant. And so I highly encourage you, Even if you don't want to do it full scale, let's say you have 6 raised beds and you're like, I don't have it in me, Barbara. Can you just do one? Can you do one raised bed? Put you some lettuce in there, some kale, whatever things that you eat a ton. Like if you like salad, throw you some lettuce in a container, a pot, just something so that you don't have to buy that at the store, right? My MO is going to always be trying to get you to grow more food, always. If you want to grow less food and you want somebody to encourage you to grow less food, not the channel. I'm going to encourage you to grow more food. Why? Because y'all, the grocery store prices, the availability in the grocery store, need I go on? Okay, let's end it here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have not subscribed, if you've been lurking, or this is your first time, you're like, she kind of cool. I am kind of cool. Hit the subscribe button. Join this community and be a part of what we have going on. Y'all, it's all a journey, but let's do it together. I'll see you next time, friend.